Okay, we actually talked about this recently. When buying like between ourselves, I think we were on a Signal call together. Just one of our random, I want to call Jonah and talk to him calls. When buying a
Uh-huh.
domain for email privacy, are any of the hosting services like Namecheap or Cloudflare more privacy respecting than others?
To me, they're all pretty much the same, and I just go with the cheapest and most secure provider available. The the thing with like domain names and that kind of stuff is there's like legal obligations for these companies to collect personal information, and you can always make up information as well. But if like you're serious about keeping ownership of your domain and that kind of thing, um, there are like reasons why you would submit correct information to it. It's not a great situation overall. I think like most domain providers are going to be fine, and then finding like a good email hosting service is going to be a much bigger part of like what's important to your email privacy than the domain registration. I personally have been mostly using Cloudflare. I know Namecheap, your other example, has had some like security issues in the past, especially with like 2FA and their support panel. I think that was a big story a few years ago. I don't know if that was actually resolved quick, but overall, I'm not really a fan of Namecheap in general, um, and their track record as far as like security goes. But
Right, I'm definitely with you. I think security's actually because all my domains are meant for public use and they are attached to different things, which I don't mind. So for me, I'm looking more to security prospects of a domain host registrar. The one thing I'll say
yeah,
too is you can go with one of those like anonymous domain registration companies that essentially put their own information and they technically kind of own the domain on your behalf. And so those are going to be things like Nyala, is that how I say it? Nyala, and also Orange Website. So those ones you can pay with like Bitcoin, you can give them whatever information you want, and then they're going to represent you essentially. Um, so something else to throw your way.
yeah. Really depends on what you're doing with the domain. If it's just a personal thing or like a small project like that, that's totally fine. Um, but there are some like stories about
Yep.
domain registrars that do the registering in their name for you and then they like pull out or do some other crazy stuff with that registration later against your will because you don't actually own the domain. So you lose protections when you go that route for sure.
Yep. It's one of the reasons we
If
used
it
to
was like
use.
a serious project, like Techlore, for example, the Techlore domain could not be owned by one of like Orange website or something,
Yeah,
right? It has to be
imagine
owned by
that.
you.
Imagine
That's
using Orange website if you owned a Techlore domain. It's just crazy. Who would do that? Yeah, we did switch away though. But yeah, we were using Orange website for that was the reason why. I'm like, okay, wait, like there's no reason for us to keep this private anymore. Our information's literally on the website. It doesn't matter. And also like we're giving up a lot of control, and so that's when we switched over to a different cloud or not a cloud, a different domain registration service. So.